All right. Well, welcome to episode 3. We made it to another episode. I say we, but unfortunately, it's just me tonight. Berkan is out. He is traveling the world. I say the world. I think he's going to Disney World. He didn't win the Super Bowl. He didn't win any big championship, but he's going to Disney World. So so he's out and about. So it's just me tonight, just Adam. But we're glad to have you back. For all of you guys who are listening on the podcast, I've got some really neat things I'm going to show today. So, well, at least I think they're neat. We'll find out. Podcast listeners, check it out on our YouTube, BA Impacts. It's the same name on YouTube. Well, let's get started. So last week we talked a little bit about some breaking news. There's some more breaking news this week. And one of those things is Luka. Luka news, of course, being a Dallas Mavericks homer. It was announced that Luka is now a exclusive Panini merchandise and autograph provider. So all of his memorabilia and autographs will only be through Panini. That's big news, but at the end of the day, Panini basically owns the entire licensing agreement with the NBA anyway. It just means that like Upper Deck and other brands can't really produce any, autographed memorabilia on the side. Or I know Goody Greats, I think it was Upper Deck product. It was unlicensed with just him in like a T-shirt or something. So they can't produce anything like that. So it is big news. I mean, he's an exclusive athlete. He's one of, I think, 5 or 6 exclusive athletes with Panini. Something that one of the brands that we'll talk about today in our kind of what our part 2 of our series of how we got here, Upper Deck really became famous for. So, but before we get into that, I want to show one of the things that we're going to do is kind of show some of the pickups that we've had in the last few weeks. And so I've got a couple dirt cards, a Prizm. I think this is like 17, 18 Prizm, red, white, and blue. So I thought that was cool. Also picked up a Topps Chrome. I just really like this card. This is from 2008. Yeah, 2008, one of the last years that Topps. Ironic that I'm talking about Topps. One of the last years that Topps actually produced basketball cards. So 2009 being their last. So those are pretty cool. And then last but not least, one of the guys I think as a Maverick homer, of course, but statistically, Jalen Brunson's having a great year. I think he's a little undersized, but I think he's going to be a really good player, hopefully for the Mavericks. But, as his rookie contract expires soon, I think he will be very sought after, kind of under the radar. But I picked up a Prizm red of Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Prizm's super popular, silver, all the different colorways. I went with red. I basically went for the best value I could get for that, and that is a numbered card. Of course, you all heard my dog last week. We heard Berkan's dog, and my little golden doodle Finley decided she wanted to make an appearance. So, but Jalen Brunson, this is the red numbered to 299. So this is 221. I got this for what I thought was a pretty good steal. So pretty good. I think it's grade worthy. I mean, I'm gonna have Berkan and I are both gonna look at it and see. So other big kind of breaking news in the hobby. I would say breaking news. I feel like I'm like one of the news stations that has the ticker at the bottom and where everything's breaking news. Breaking news, somebody blew their nose. But big news in the hobby as far as football is concerned. Obviously, we're a little behind this year with football, as you can imagine, with COVID and all the different protocols and the different things that have been going on in the hobby, in the sports world, but then in the everyday world, COVID's had obviously a massive impact on all that there is in the hobby. And with that, football has been significantly behind. I remember at this point last year, I think 2 or 3 products, maybe 3 products that already come out that were the draft products, which is kind of a bummer because I always like kind of busting packs or a box or something around the draft. It just gets me really excited. It's kind of like that kid feeling around Christmas time. I just like doing it. Just like I miss NCAA football, EA Sports, around August, right before the college football season gets started. And I think a lot of people are like that with Madden. They want to get the new Madden right before the season starts and play it. So I do miss that, but Topps, who is not licensed, as we'll talk about later, for NFL football, they have partnered with, signed Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, the not arguably, the for sure number one pick that's going to be with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They signed him to an exclusive kind of partnership, which I thought was kind of cool. This is the first one of these that I've really seen in quite a while, where it was a completely off the kind of radar as far as the sports world's concerned. This is more of a cultural phenomenon, I guess you could say, because his brother and his sister-in-law are artists, and so they partnered with Topps to create sets. And I'll get some images here as well, some sets. That it's a 50 card set that is being released. It was online only purchase, and it was available on the 21st of April. And Berkan and I both were able to. We were lucky enough, he reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, we gotta check this out." And we were both lucky enough to be able to get one. We will be breaking those and busting those as soon as we get them. I'm really excited to see what it is. I think 1 in 5 of those boxes will have a Trevor Lawrence autograph in it. So yeah, that's the next big breaking news, I guess you say, is the Topps partnership. Those cards look really cool. I'm excited to see them in person, and excited to see if we are able to be lucky enough to get an autograph. Before we get into our continuation of our series, without Berkan here, we're going to bust a pack. And I thought it would be fun last week. We talked a lot about how Marvel had such an impact on the hobby and how Marvel had such an impact on Fleer and Skybox. And we're going to bust open a pack of Marvel cards, which ironically enough are actually produced by Upper Deck, who we'll talk about this week. So I'm going to get into this, and honestly, I don't really know what to expect. I haven't opened up Marvel trading cards in probably 15 years. Wow. All right. So I don't know who that is. I feel pretty confident with my knowledge of Marvel superheroes, but I do know Red Hulk. Don't know who that is. Finesse. Not super thrilled with this artwork, to be honest. Like, that looks meh. Luna Show. So, looks like we got something fun here. X-Men card. Saturday morning cartoons. That's pretty cool. I remember watching that show. My brother and I. It's pretty fun. Who doesn't love the X-Men? The Avengers before the Avengers, right? Well, I guess the Avengers were always a thing, but... And then Pumpkin Bomb, Green Goblin. Kind of a fun subset. Almost the little toys. So far, nothing super spectacular. Moonstar. Avengers Academy. Well, that's a sticker. All right, Panini. All right. Upper Deck. Here we go. Kitty Power. Cloud. And Wasp. At first I thought this was kind of a thicker pack, so I didn't know what to expect, but whatever. It's fun. Fun to bust open packs. Nothing crazy. I got a sticker and a Saturday morning cartoon that I think is cool. So awesome. So now we will move on. Kind of continuing our oral history of how we got here. So we'll talk about Prizm. Before Prizm, we'll talk about Jordan, LeBron, and the jersey card. And all of that will be in part 2, Topps and Upper Deck. It's really funny because a couple of years ago, when Berkan and I first started talking about sports cards, we had kind of talked about Prizm and talked about a couple of the other products that were coming out. This was probably 2018, early 2018, 2019 season, or preseason really, before Luka was really tearing up, and Trae Young and all those guys were kind of the it thing. DeAndre Ayton, everybody was excited about him as well up in Phoenix. But we were talking about the different cards, and I was like, oh man, the rookie card that you need to get is Topps Chrome, which is really funny. I laugh about it now because I've always kind of been involved in the hobby and have a lot of collections and everything, but I hadn't really purchased product in a few years before that, and I had forgotten that Topps Chrome was Topps was out of the industry when it comes to basketball. I had forgotten that Panini had the licensing, and I knew that Upper Deck was out, but for some reason I couldn't remember that Topps was out. So I kind of sounded like a bit of a fool there. But it's just something funny that he and I always joke about. If you listened or watched last week, you could probably hear my love for Skybox and Fleer and the innovation that they brought to inserts and different things in the hobby in the 90s. But really, every card company had a significant impact on what we see today and with Panini products. And each hobby enthusiast now can kind of find the things that they like, and they can probably trace it back to some of the famous brands that are still producing cards, but may not be producing cards that the sports that they like. So Topps and Upper Deck, both huge impacts on the hobby in the 90s. And for Upper Deck, it was some of their groundbreaking technology and auto memorabilia chase. I mean, memorabilia cards, we'll get into that. And then for Topps, it was the chromium technology, the refractors. For a lot of people that are big Prizm fans, the color, the silvers, that is the refractor technology that Topps is kind of known for. So I'm going to just kind of bounce around some of the history of these companies. I'll start with Topps because they're the oldest. They started in 1938. But their first baseball cards were not produced until, really their first cards at all weren't produced until 1949. And in 49, they produced their first baseball set. Obviously, they were more of a candy, gum, I think tobacco originally, but candy and gum producer, and these were baseball gum cards. So every pack had gum with it. And that happened all the way up to the 80s, late 80s. And I think even in the early 90s, there were cards with packs with gum in them. And in 1952, they produced probably their most famous set ever. And this is probably the biggest card. It has the biggest card in it in the history of sports cards, arguably. I mean, the Jordan rookie is one, but the 1952 Mickey Mantle card, that is an iconic, trading card of all time. I mean, it's just you got the Honus Wagner and the T206 set, but the 1952 Mantle got, I think, a lot of people involved in sports cards in the, obviously in the 70s and 80s, or early even in the 50s, but later on, of course, and still today is one of the most sought after cards out there. One of the fun fact about the 1952 set is it was the first set in sports cards history to have statistics on the back. That was something new that they added, which was pretty cool. Just the first step of innovation, not super innovative, but at the time it was. 1956, Topps bought Bowman. So Bowman made basketball cards. Topps purchased Bowman, they acquired them, and they made their first Topps licensed basketball cards. A bunch of stuff happened from there on. I'm kind of going to hop in a time machine and fast forward to right before the 90s and fast forward into 1988. 1988 was a big year for Topps, 89 as well. In 1988, towards the end of the season, as they're preparing for their 1989 product, Topps was looking for the next superstar baseball prospect to launch their next line of cards. And we all know who they chose. Of course, 1989, a rookie year. Of course, they chose Greg Jeffries. Right? Crickets. Yeah, nobody knows who Greg Jeffries is. I'm sure a lot of people collected Greg Jeffries. He had a long career, 14 years. He had a couple All-Stars. He played for the Mets. But they made, a huge mistake in choosing Greg Jeffries. It was a crapshoot, just like any drafts. You don't know who's going to be, but it's easy to say now, revisionist history, I guess, that Ken Griffey Jr. was the correct selection, considering the fact that, you got to look at the bloodlines. His father was an MLB player, was an active MLB player. So Greg Jeffries was not the right choice. So that made the 1989 set probably not as popular as the next brand that we'll talk about later, Upper Deck. But in 91, they started producing kind of their more premium tier product, kind of catching on a little earlier than Fleer did, actually, with Topps Stadium Club. That was their premier baseball product at the time. Everything was still retail at this point. There's really no hobby. In 92, they started producing their first basketball cards in 10 years. So they didn't produce basketball cards from 82 to 92, 92 being the first year. That was a good year for them to choose because, of course, Shaq. However, they also made a major mistake by not producing basketball cards in the 80s. because they missed out on Jordan. They missed out on, Jordan rookies. They missed out on a lot of the guys who became the NBA in the 90s. NBA really took off in the late 80s, early 90s, of course, with Jordan at the helm. So they missed the boat on that a little bit, but they started producing basketball cards. Shaquille O'Neal, that rookie card was super popular, still is pretty popular. And with the boom in 2020, the Topps rookie for Shaq has seen its rise back to the top of a lot of price guides, a lot of price points in eBay listings and things like that. So they definitely hit on the Shaq rookie. And just like Fleer and Skybox, I mean, everything at this point was basically going to be a mid to low tier product that was out. But they really changed the game in 92. I think a lot of the companies kind of pushed each other. You'll see that as we go through this kind of series, that a lot of these different card companies really pushed each other. The competition pushed each other to become a bit more innovative and create different things. And I think that's one of the great parts about competition and avoiding monopolies is you do get that innovation. And Topps had that with their Chromium technology. So I have a few cards to show, and for those of you guys and gals who are listening on podcast, check out our YouTube. You can see some of these. So I don't have any of the very first Topps Finest set. The very first Chromium card that Topps made was Finest 92 Football, and it was actually a huge flop. Did not do very well at all. And honestly, it's because they started with football. I mean, they probably knew that it wasn't going to be as successful, but they were ready to usher a new era out and get a premium product out there that was hobby exclusive. 93 baseball and basketball really kind of took off. Those were the super premium products that people were just rushing to get. These were hobby exclusive. They were obviously more expensive products, and they were the first sets that had refractors. So I'm going to show you, this is actually a 90, this is a few years later. This is a 95, 96 Topps Finest card. Of course, Michael Finley, this is his rookie year. It's also Kevin Garnett's rookie year. So you'll see a couple things here. This Chromium technology, very similar to what you see now with Prizm and a lot of the other kind of products. Topps Chrome obviously still produces baseball cards, so you'll see some Topps Chrome baseball cards that have the same technology. One of the cool things about Finest at the time was that they put these, you can see it if you obviously you can see the writing on his face. They put a protective coating on the cards. That was a big thing in the hobby at that time. Do you peel or not to peel? I always left them on. I always thought it kind of was, even though it kind of took away from the photo, I always thought it kind of looked cool. Here's another Finest. This is 96, 97. This is a Jordan. Very cool. I thought one of my favorite sets of all time when it comes to the Topps brand. But so the Chromium technology really took over, and the refractors took over. I've got a refractor I wanted to show you as well. Of course, another Michael Finley. But you can really see this is from 97, 98 Finest. Just beautiful the way they did it. I mean, and this is cutting edge technology. I mean, and even today, these are beautiful cards. And they really, I mean, they're beautiful. And they did a great job, going out into the market with them. It was a huge success. I mean, that was the premium card at the time, was Topps Finest. The funny thing is, in 96, they produced, in the year that they made these Finest cards, they produced Topps Chrome for the first year in basketball. So a Topps Chrome product was basically a Topps card, a regular Topps base card that had this Chromium technology. Which made it kind of this silver. Like I said, I wish I had some of those, but I don't. Silver like this, but on the borders. Many of you have probably seen the Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome rookie, as it has now become the premier Kobe rookie, the refractor, of course, in the marketplace. And it's funny because at the time, the premier Kobe Bryant rookie card was the more premier product, Topps Finest. And so here's a Topps Finest Kobe Bryant rookie with a protector on it. I thought this was just a baller card. I mean, this is just a sweet card. I have most of the set, and almost all. I think I have all the rookies as well. So pretty awesome set, pretty awesome card. But the crazy thing was Topps Chrome at the time was still considered kind of a retail product. So it actually drove a bit less demand, and the rookie cards for Kobe Bryant are actually a bit more scarce in Topps Chrome because it was a retail-only product. Whereas the Topps Finest, which is the more premium product at the time, was considered the big dog. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see how things go, especially now with retail, even though retail and hobby are pretty much very similar today. So in 96, they did that. Bowman's Best also came out in 96, 96, 97. Here's a Bowman's Best from 90, I think this is 98. Yeah, 98 Bowman's Best. Refractor. So insert card, Kobe, insert. So, but they use the refractor technology as well. They really kind of pushed the limits with Bowman's Best. They did all kinds of subsets and inserts, and they created what they called an atomic refractor. So atomic refractor kind of looked like the checkerboard. Where is it here? A little bit like the checkerboard, but a little bit further spread out squares for a year. And then they changed it. And the atomic refractor in 98, 99 looked a lot like what you see now as like a cracked ice, which is one of my favorite parallels currently. And then in 98, 99, they decided, let's go nuts with the chromium technology. Here's a Kobe. It doesn't have the peel on it. That was a parallel that they chose not to put the peel on. And then on the back, it actually was chrome as well. So this was a kind of a parallel set you could get of all the individual cards. And they had refractors that were full front and back refractors. I should have pulled one. I have a Grant Hill one that I pulled. But yeah, so they were keeping competitive. They really were after the chase market with all of the different, all the different parallels and things. They really were on the forefront of that. And it grew. As Topps grew and Topps Chrome grew and Topps Chrome became the premium product, they really did. They grew with it. And you can see all kinds of things. I'll show you here. I've got some later on, obviously way later on down the road, Topps Chrome. But here's some Chrome from 05, 06, I believe. So this is, obviously Michael Finley, because that's what I have easily accessible at the moment. So there's the regular Chrome. There's the refractor. There's the black refractor. The black refractors were numbered to 500. And there's your gold refractor that was numbered to 99. So these were beautiful parallels, beautiful cards. And really that's where you kind of get your rainbow is really going. The rainbows really are starting. Also had some neat technology with Stadium Club that they did. And one of my favorite subsets and insert sets that I didn't think was marketed very well at all when it comes to the products. I think it's because they had so many products out there. Was the Trimivate cards. These were, if you don't know, it sounds crazy. It's a weird name, but these were die cut. So I've got one here. This is a luminescent, so it's the different verbiage for the same thing. It's the refractor version of the Topps Stadium Club Trimivate card. So this is a Tracy Mcgrady. So it's a die cut card. And what's really interesting about it, obviously the Lightning's all die cut as well. What's interesting about this set is that there were 3 other cards that sat next to it that these die cuts, these super, unique die cuts would fit inside of. So you basically could line them all 3 together. I say they weren't marketed very well because, to this day, I still don't know. I'm assuming it's probably rookies because this is McGrady's rookie year, but I still don't know what cards were supposed to be connected to this one. If I wanted to, this was in this was in 97, 98. The internet was a thing, but not, it was a thing. But if I wanted to find out it was just impossible to do. So even today, it's hard to figure out which cards connect with this. So cool technology. If you want to go look some, I think the Jordan card of that is just nuts expensive. But they're beautiful cards. So Topps really competed. They matched what a lot of other brands did in the early 90s. Here's a Topps Gold label. They still make this product in baseball. This was kind of their answer to the Fleer Showcase. Super, super similar design. Thicker cardstock, really good quality. This was sold retail. I remember I pulled a bunch of this stuff out of like KB Toys or Walmart or, retail heaven at that time. So this was a 99, I think. Yeah, 1999. So, they did a lot of different things. As Topps kind of developed some different strategies, they did the same thing that Fleer and Skybox did, and they made, all different styles of cards. They did overproduce. They did make, it wasn't the junk wax era anymore, but they were still pumping out products. Inserts were galore and beautiful. Chrome was their go-to, and Chrome is what they'll be known for. I've got some more cards just to show you guys. So this was in 2003. Of course, the LeBron era. I have a bunch of different ones of these. It's just the first one I saw that I grabbed. This is called Matrix. At the time, I thought this was one of the ugliest card sets that they ever made. This is like an insert. This was not the base. The base had that silver frame all the way around it, and they were kind of portrait like that with one player on it. This was a subset at the end of every set. They did this where they had the triple cards. These are all the rookies, and they would have different formations so that you could get LeBron with, in this instance, TJ Ford and Carmelo Anthony. You could get LeBron with Carmelo and Dwayne Wade. You could get LeBron with Darko and Wade. You could get LeBron with Bosh and Wade. Of course, the LeBron, Bosh, and Wade combination card ended up being kind of a little foreshadowing, considering they joined forces in 2010. And that card, I had it and I sold it then. I did okay with it. I kind of hit the peak of that whole craze. Of course, they got crushed by my Mavericks in that we all know it was 20 years ago this year that the Mavericks beat the Heat. Sorry, Heat fans. I have a lot of friends that are Heat fans. But yeah, so that was a product that Topps did. They also kind of went back to their roots in 2003 and did Bazooka. They had a couple years of this. This is a LeBron James rookie from Bazooka. There's a gold version of this. I saw a gold version that was graded, just sold for some ungodly amount. So this was super low tier. I mean, this was like bottom of the barrel branded card. But, I mean, people love LeBron. So LeBron really kept a lot of card companies going in the early 2000s. By 2009, though, just like a lot of other companies, Topps was they were doing fine. Upper Deck made a play to buy them in 2007, I believe. And in 2009, they lost their rights to produce basketball. In 2010, they lost their rights to produce football. But in 2009, they secured the exclusive rights to produce licensed Major League Baseball cards. And so Topps Chrome lives on in Major League Baseball. Topps has also been really popular with a lot of entertainment cards, Star Wars. That's a huge part of what they do, as well as a lot of other entertainment cards. So as we go from Topps, we'll go to Upper Deck, and they kind of the big boys on the block. They came in 1988, end of 88, 89, and they came to the table with just a bunch of money. They came in and they produced probably right out of the gates the best trading card that was in the market. In 1989, they hitched their wagon to, we all know, Ken Griffey Jr., and they made the most iconic card of that kind of era, the junk wax era, the Ken Griffey rookie card. There's probably been so many different stories and documentaries and things you can read online about the Ken Griffey rookie card. But just some fun facts about Upper Deck early on. One of their co-founders was a printer. He was a commercial printer, and he knew all about high quality printing. And one of the things that he brought to the table to Upper Deck that made them very different was this hologram technology. You see it right there. They put that on all their cards so that they could basically eliminate the chance that they would have counterfeiting. They really later on developed that even further, and I'll show you some examples of that. But the Griffey rookie card, it was the junk era king, and is still one of the most popular baseball cards out there from kind of, I guess you'd say, my generation of baseball collecting. I never had one, but and I don't necessarily have the desire to get one, but there are a lot of people out there that love the card, and it is a cool card, and it's a cool part of baseball history and collecting history. It was card number 1 in the set, which means it was on the top left corner of the sheet when they printed it. And when they printed it, often it got dinged corners, and when they cut it, it was often miscut. So one of the things about Upper Deck was their customer service was such a huge deal, obviously. So they had a deal that they would reprint and send you the card if you had issues. So, I mean, people were sending in Griffey cards that were damaged like crazy. They were recutting them in full sheets of 100. This card was produced massively, but just like the Jordan rookie, it doesn't really matter if the player is a GOAT. It doesn't really matter if the player is an all-star. It doesn't really matter if the player is, one of the best of all time. So because of that, I mean, the Griffey card is probably one of the most graded cards of all time. Over 78,000 PSA submissions for grading. in the pop reports. Now, I'm sure Beckett, all those other grading companies that have come and gone have probably graded lots as well. But they did a lot in technology. Their cards were some of the best, and they won card product of the year, card design of the year for as long as you can remember in the 90s because of their innovation. And they brought, like I said, they brought a lot of money to the table and they created some cool stuff. In 1990, they had the first autograph card with Reggie Jackson that was put in packs in baseball. And then also in 1990, they were the first company to produce baseball trading cards, all for major sports. So that's pretty awesome. And that was the first since 1980 that anybody had done that. But I talked a little bit about their technology, and this is from 1996. As you can tell, a lot of my collecting happened that I still have the cards that are in good shape from 96. So this isn't the best example, but they took their hologram technology to the next level, and they started creating inserts that were all holograms. This is a horrible example of one because this is probably the worst hologram card that I have. But just a really cool concept to compete with the Refractor. And this is probably a better example. This is SPX. This was a whole set of just hologram kind of cards. And let's see if I can get a good. This is, of course, Michael Finley's rookie year. I mean, that is pretty awesome. I think that these cards, to me, stand the test of time when it comes to the technology that we have today. I mean, that is pretty freaking cool. Anyway, so they created a few sets, a few years of cards like this. Is die cut as well. This is the gold. And they did a lot of really cool stuff early 90s as well. But what made them and really set them apart, I think, was their design, but also their business model and what they did. Their marketing was genius. They had a lot of exclusive licensing agreements. We talked about Luka Luka and his exclusive licensing agreement with Panini. Upper Deck did that with Jordan, of course, the athlete of the 90s. Later on did it with Tiger Woods and, of course, LeBron James, Wayne Gretzky as well. But their marketing was probably some of the best. And a great example was in 92, they put up a billboard in Chicago. I kind of spoiled it a bit, but a billboard popped up in Chicago in 92, right after the Bulls had won the NBA Finals. Jordan was declared the MVP, and out popped a billboard that said, this is all it said. It just said, "Trade Jordan." I think everybody in the city was like, what is going on? Is this a joke? Did somebody put this up? Is there issues? Are there issues within the team? Did the Pistons do this? Did Bill Laimbeer, the evil Pistons, did they put up this billboard? And everyone went crazy. About a month later, a couple weeks later, I can't remember the time frame, another billboard popped up, and it said, "Trade Jordan. We've been doing it for years." And it was Upper Deck, and it was the next year's Jordan trading card. So just brilliant marketing and advertising. That was one of the things that kind of really got them going. They were hot, they were fresh. Everybody likes the new shiny penny, and they were that for sure. Some of the other famous sets that they created in 93, they created SP foil kind of technology. The full foil cards, probably the biggest card of that era in baseball, of course, is the Derek Jeter rookie. They also did like a gold version as well. And then you saw 96 and 95, 96, they did the SPX technology, which is pretty awesome. I don't have any of the SPX cards from 97, 98, 96, 97 year. I didn't spend the money to get those cards then. And I sure as heck probably not going to be able to do it now. So beautiful cards though. And in 97, of course, Topps Chrome has changed the hobby. Topps has Chrome, and in 97, Upper Deck has the jersey card. So they were the very first company that is still alive. I think Leaf created like a kind of a football jersey card, but Upper Deck is credited with the very first jersey card, and it was in baseball and football and basketball in 97. Of course, those jersey cards are some of the most sought after jersey cards in the marketplace. And now jersey cards are kind of a joke. Memorabilia cards are a bit of a joke at this point. And Upper Deck also had a big hand in that as well. They were originally 1 in 2,500 to get a jersey card. And then the next year, they created the first auto jersey card in basketball. I remember, as a teenager, 97, 98 year, the auto jersey card of Michael Jordan, of Kobe Bryant, of those guys, that was the holy grail of holy grails. I think if you had a Jordan rookie card and you had an auto jersey, 97, 98 upper deck autographed jersey card of Jordan, I think many people would have traded that rookie card for that at that time frame. And I don't know if I would, I probably would have done it too. To be honest with you, today I'd go back in time and punch a little Adam in the face for doing that. Aggressive, I know, but it's crazy. So Jordan, obviously, Upper Deck was tied with Jordan quite a bit throughout the 90s. And when he retired, he came back and he retired again. Obviously a lot of things happened. 2000, the end of the 2000s and 2002, 2003 was the first year of some super premium products. I'm going to show you some of the products that they made that were pretty cool technology throughout that time frame. This is from 1999. This is holographic, so just another kind of the hologram, but they went away from the actual real holograms because the technology was just too expensive. That's why nobody else has really done it today. The technology was just an expensive technology, and it was hard to get the scans of the players' faces. They had to do full scans to get that kind of technology where you get both sides, and I don't think anybody really wanted to do that. My very first autograph card was from Upper Deck. This is the very first autograph card that I ever pulled, 1999, Pro Sign. This is from MVP, a retail-only product. Jalen Rose, that was my first autograph card. And then some other cool technology. They were the first ones to kind of really branch out. I mean, Fleer and Skybox did like shoes and things like that. They did floor cards. This is the All-Star floor from 2001. So this is Kobe and Iverson, one of my favorite cards I pulled from that year. This was actually a set, and this will kind of take me to the next point. So one of the things that Upper Deck did, they did water down the market a bit when it came to memorabilia cards. They saw that the collectors loved it, and it was the chase. So they started producing, I remember this product, I think it was like $30 for a pack, maybe a little bit less, maybe 25. And you got one floor card in the pack, and then like 2 or 3 other game use or base cards for this set. And you didn't know if it was going to be dual, if it was going to be single, if it was going to be an autograph floor, if it was going to be rookie, whatever it was. And so they kind of did that as a premium product in 2001. In 2002 and 2003, though, they really pushed the limits here. I mean, that was a good year to do it. 2002 and 2003, rolling up to LeBron's year. But 2002, 2003 season, they launched their first super premium product, Ultimate Collection, which was for the whopping $100 a box. This was a 4-card box, so equivalent of a pack. They called it a box, though, of course. And it came, all the cards were numbered. Ultimate Collection was the ultimate collection. It is what it says. Every card was numbered. They were beautiful cards, thicker card stock. And you got 1 autograph and 3 memorabilia cards per pack box. But at the time, $100 for a pack was pretty nuts. And I mean, I remember $25 to $30 for that floor card. I mean, that card's the only card that I got from this set that I pulled myself, because I didn't spend that much on a pack of cards. And I got lucky, So $100 a pack, pretty crazy, but not too crazy, because in 2003, LeBron's rookie year, they went with Exquisite Collection. Exquisite Collection is, think Flawless, think National Treasures. This was the premium super product. I'll have some pictures here. I've got a box that I had of football, Exquisite. They came in this black box with kind of a plasticky glass-looking top. And inside were, autographs, rookie cards, patch cards. I mean, 2003 Exquisite Collection is some of the most sought-after cards as well. The Jordan stuff in it, the LeBron stuff in it. Obviously, his rookie year is premium. They don't grade very well. They're super condition sensitive because they're super thick cards. They have a lot of foil on them. They have a lot of, color sensitive things on it. And then, of course, autographs and patches are freaking awesome in that set. All game use. That is one thing that's pretty cool about the Upper Deck products, is everything at this point was still game use. It wasn't, they wore it for 5 seconds or they put it on at a photo shoot. At least, that's what they say. It's all game use. So they kind of took it there. Here's some other cool sets. This is, I guess, talked about technology. This is a full wood card Jason Kidd autograph. I pulled this card as well. Full wood. I don't think it's actual wood from a floor, but pretty neat that he signed it. It's an on-card autograph, etched. Pretty awesome card. And then, of course, some of the lower tier cards that I really want Panini to start doing today. These are rookies as well. This is MVP, but we still need this in the hobby. We need this lower tier product in the hobby. We don't want to go back to junk wax, but we need that. Collectors, kids need that so that they can be talking about it in 20 years. So that is those are some rookies from that era. So then all the way we get to 2009, of course, just like Topps, Upper Deck lost their license for NBA. Just like Topps in 2010, Upper Deck lost their license for football. They really decided to concentrate on hockey and collegiate sports. Of course, in 2005, if you remember from last week, they bought Fleer, and they bought the rights to Fleer. They had produced some cards, through that. I showed you guys some of the EX, the Kobe EX that we're going to give away. We'll talk about this next week and some of our other videos that we're going to do. So check out our YouTube so you can see if you can win that Kobe EX from 2005, 2006, along with some other goodies. But in 2011, they really started pumping out a lot of their main products they have for basketball and football with their collegiate licensing that they purchased. So they basically started doing stuff like this. This was Fleer Retro. So this is a Jordan card, and I should have brought it, and I'll show a picture of it. I'll probably put one up. I pulled the autograph of this card as well. It's on my PC out of a single pack, which is crazy. But I bought probably 4 or 5 boxes of this stuff because I really liked this Fleer Retro set. So Upper Deck was able to utilize all of the old Fleer Skybox sets that they did and kind of retool them with famous players, of course, in their college uniforms. So here's an EX Jordan from Fleer Retro as well. So pretty neat, pretty cool stuff. But people don't like college jerseys. And, it did okay, I'm sure, because of Jordan. Jordan, and guess who didn't go to college? Kobe Bryant. At this point, I think Kobe Bryant had also signed a licensing deal with Panini. And Kobe was not in any of these retro sets because he didn't go to college, so he couldn't have that. Neither were players like LeBron. Well, LeBron was in his high school jersey in a lot of it because he was an exclusive. He was an exclusive to Upper Deck. So then in 2015, we fast forward a bit. I mean, basically, they made everything exquisite, Ultimate Collection, all of those in football and in basketball and collegiate jerseys. So if you like college stuff, which I do too, I follow North Texas. So we didn't have anybody in any of those products, but Oklahoma, of course, had a lot of guys in basketball and in, of course, football that were in a lot of those products. So that was kind of cool to be able to get. But in 2015, they lost their collegiate license as well. They didn't get it taken away or anything, but they got outbid. Panini was able to purchase that as well. So Panini came in and kind of swooped in and brought new money. And one of the main reasons why, like the NBA, for example, went with Panini was because the NBA wanted to focus on a global brand. And Panini was a global brand. People all over the world knew Panini from their soccer cards, their stickers. I can go back and you can go find old threads about Panini coming into the market, how people were scared about, this low quality sticker company. And, we'll talk more about Panini next week. But they really did a lot of, they came in and people were scared what was going to happen in the hobby. So Upper Deck basically from then on has produced hockey cards and kind of oddball card sets. Of course, they have Marvel's cards and they have a lot of other celebrity and entertainment cards that they do as well. And what's kind of funny with the licensing with Panini, in 2020, this is a neat story. 2020 Upper Deck currently is in a lawsuit with Panini over licensing. So when Jordan left the NBA, he no longer was a part of the Players Association. So he could have his own licensing. And you could not make, because he worked with Upper Deck, you couldn't make anything with his likeness on it and sell it. And so because of that, there were, in the last 10 years, there's been this big impact on kind of throwback cards and old players. So Scotty Pippen was a big one. A lot of Bulls guys, Scotty Pippen, you've got Dennis Rodman, of course, with the documentary that came out this last year, that has brought a lot of love back into those players and collecting those players. So Don Russ, under Panini, created a Scotty Pippen card in 2017, 2018. Don Russ, I believe, is what it was. And in that card, it was a picture of him like doing a layup or a dunk or something. And everything was great. It was a beautiful card. No big deal there. They made the premium version of it, of course, Optic being the premium version of Don Russ. In that version, they didn't crop out Michael Jordan. The picture's the same angle, same photo. They just didn't Photoshop him out of the photo. Now, some people say coincidence. I don't know. The premium product, the higher version, they're creating a chase. There's been lots of cards that people have chased after because of some weird thing in the background. But Upper Deck saw it and they sued him. And they had another case for it too in 2019 with a Dennis Rodman card. You could see Jordan in the background. I mean, even closer card. And I think they knew that would draw people because Jordan had been on a trading card in quite a while. That wasn't like a weird, set or some college uniform set. So, and they're still in litigation with Upper Deck. No settlement has happened. I'm assuming something will happen. I'm sure a settlement will go in, but the lawsuit is still going as of July 2020. So here's one of the things that I thought was really cool, and my hat's off to Panini because they've started incorporating this kind of concept back into the hobby, which I think was missing, and that is the buyback autograph. So this was something that Upper Deck kind of started. And this is one that I actually was lucky enough to pull. I bought a box of Upper Deck basketball cards in 2000. I think it was 2002, 2003 Upper Deck Series 2 basketball. And I remember Jason Williams, poor old Jason Williams. I guess he's doing well now. He's an announcer. But when he was the it guy, but he was on the cover of the box, and I remember busting this open. And so this was in there. This is a thick card too. This is a game used ball card, but this card was originally issued in 2000, in 99, 2000 set. And this was a game, it didn't have an autograph on it. It was just a game used ball card. And then Upper Deck actually went back into the secondary market and purchased 13 of these and had Mike Bibby hand sign them and hand number them. So this is number 1 of 13. And then they put them in the packs in a sleeve with this, what looks like a redemption card, but is a certificate of authenticity. And it's specific to the back. It says, "Congratulations" from the Upper Deck CEO. And it talks about Mike Bibby. And what's really cool about it is it has a serial numbered hologram on the back that matches the hologram number on the certificate that came with it. So pretty awesome. This is something that I was really hoping that would come back into the marketplace. And I think that Panini's done a good job with their honor set. They did do some of that. And I hope that they make, with the ability to put products with one touches or graded cards in them. I think going back into the secondary market and purchasing cards just is a really cool concept. And being able to have players autograph them, I think is even really, really, really cool. Adds element of collectability as well as chase to the hobby. So next week we'll talk about a lot of the things that Panini and Don Russ and Playoff have done. Appreciate you guys sticking with us, and I look forward to a lot of the great content that we're going to be pumping out here in the next few weeks. We've got some really cool stuff that we're going to be doing. We've already kind of filmed, so I'm excited for that to happen. So come back and see us next week as we go into part 3, and Berkan will be back to share some fun stuff as well. Thanks a lot, guys.